Hey, this is the third video about the tileset formatter tool that I made. In the last two, we talked about its integration with Godot using the Godot resource file. We set it up here, painted some backgrounds here, some tile for a level, like I said, as an example. And in this one, I'll just gonna focus more on the tool itself. So firstly, we'll go to the tilesets overview here on the info button, and it brings you to a Stock Exchange article, just talking about how the tile sets are composed and why we need them. And there's an article that it references by Boris the Brave and Sean Howard. And this one is actually a really good one, just to kind of know about what the numbering for these is and why it's 48 tiles. That you can kind of see a lot of these are 48, 48, 48, right? Uh, it could be more or less depending on if you have duplicates or you don't need certain tiles, but for the most part, it's 48 for a full kind of set. And these are the numbers I'm talking about. So I did the show tile ID here, and it shows the numbers. So -1, for example, corresponds to the water, and 255 corresponds to the grass tile, and everything else in between determines how these tile sets are going to be placed. And Godot uses, or any other engine, like for example, if we actually open up the tile setter one, there's a link here, and this link is dynamic. It kind of goes to whatever selection you have. So this tile setter tool generates its own kind of format here, right? But to paint them on, it uses the same kind of algorithm by these numbers. So anyways, if you want to convert to and from this tile setter format, for example, you can, right? So this Boris example that I got with the terrain being the grass and the water, it's set up this way, but we can easily rearrange it. And so I made one like for myself that I kind of like, that I think just separates into nice little islands here. They're a little bit easier to kind of look at and kind of see what's going on. I'm blanking out. Right, so the first video we talked about this image border, how we set it up with a 5-5 to get rid of these gray borders. What I didn't cover is that you can actually add that border back in with your own color if you wanted to. So right now it's all kind of stuck together, but if we do increase, you can see the tiles kind of shrink, and the background is like transparent right now, but we can bring it up to 100 with this color. It's white right now, and we can just go up and down. You can see the tiles themselves just kind of shrink in and out. So this can be useful if you actually do want some borders, but you don't want maybe a lot. Yeah, you can also go negative. So right now it's at 0. If you go negative, you start trimming and the tiles themselves. So if there's some things in the tile that you want to get rid of, maybe there's like a artifact or something you don't want, you can go negative. And I think this is all that we have on this page. So let's go to the editor that has all of these presets in it that we can look at. So here's the tile setter, the example that I gave before. Again, kind of goes into that page. You can create your own. So when you click on that button, kind of puts up a little template for you to kind of start off with. But if we go to like -1, 255, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I mean, you can use all the numbers. You probably don't want to. You kind of pretty much referencing these 48 tiles, and again, just look at the post, and in the info here, it'll tell you a little bit more about them. But this 48 tiles is all you really need to define a good tile set. So what ends up happening really is like you you maybe need to use like let's say the 247. Let's see what the next one would be. 247, 223. Drop down a line, maybe to a 253, and then 127. So maybe you need like this box here, right? So you're just kind of creating that along with maybe the opposite one, which is like 28, 112, 7, and 193. You code those up, and that is actually one of these tile sets here. So there you go. See, that's the one, that's the other one, and it kind of gives you a little bit two diagonals and a couple other ones. So you can, obviously put as much as or as little as you want. You can put up a name, put up a link, click add, and then just drops all the way down. You can see I had another example. So this one is about variance. So if we look at this one from OpenGameArt, you can see there is tiles here like 255, 255A, 255B, and C. And these are variants, so a little bit easier to see here, but they're highlighted. And these are like the common tiles that you would want. So for example, if you have like a grass tile, right? One is like completely flat, but maybe another one has like a little bit of actual grass on it. And the third one has like a lot of grass on it and maybe some flowers or something, right? So they're kind of similar, but you can use those interchangeably. And in Godot, actually, I'm going to actually go here and there's a probability. You can assign a probability so for example, on this tile set, these two are variants, so you can set the probability. Maybe you want to use this one most of the time, but this one maybe like pops in like every now and then, so you can put a 0.1 on here or something and paint that in. So that's where the variants come in. And if the source has a variance, so like say I'm converting between the OpenGameArt and my own, OpenGameArt has a whole bunch of variants, so it'll just use the first two. So because I only have two, and it'll just ignore everything else. In the opposite direction, it'll just use what it can. So because OpenGameArt has 4 and I have 2, it'll just use these two, and then it's going to use 255 for the rest of them. Hopefully that makes sense. We can edit, delete. So if you go into like this one, we can just start editing this tile set. I'm just going to click cancel because I do not want to. And we can just clear everything out if we wanted to with this button, load up the defaults with this one, and then import and export your own settings with that one. Let's go to the settings one. I think we're done here. So settings, these three cards here are pretty much your presets for your formatter. So you can see I have 5 for the border size already set up, and a 2 and a 23. And if we go to the formatter, they just are loaded in. So you can see 2, 23, 5, 5. So say we made it to always show the tile ID, save changes, and then if you go to the formatter, boom, it's just there. So it's good. Well, in this case, I'm trying to do these tutorials and I have to do multiple takes sometimes, so it's very good to just be able to go in here and have these already preset. In a more realistic use case, you could be converting between certain tile sets or just loading a tile set that you want to load into Godot, and these would be just set automatically for you. And then the last one is just the bitmask renderer, and that's the preview that you see here for the tiles. So if we disable this fancy border, for example, save that, and now you can see these are looking a little bit more flat. Whereas with the border, you kind of see where the tiles are. This tile mask size here, 32 versus 64. If you're running into like some performance issues, if you have a lot of things set up in the editor, then this could be useful. So let's save the changes, go to the formatter. Downside is that if we click show tile ID, it's a little bit blurry. We are working with 32 pixels, so it's a little harder to draw the text on them. So they'll be a little blurry. And in the editor, they will be smaller. So I'll put it back to 64. Backgrounds you can kind of choose. So let me do like a purple, do like a green, and you can actually set the alpha, so transparency. So if I save changes there and go to the formatter, you can see it's green with a little bit of transparency there. So you can set those up as you like. But we also have presets. So by default, it'll come with the app theme, which is just a blue and a green. If we go back there, that's what it looks like. And then my favorite is Dune, because it's just a little easier in the eyes, I think. Just like a nice little warm color. And last things will be Discord. You can, if you have any questions, you can join the Discord and ask away. Or if you have any suggestions, bugs, whatever. Speaking of bugs, all the code is open source on GitHub, so feel free to create an issue if you needed to have a bug resolved there as well, and start the discussion there. And if you like the tool, if you find the source code useful, you can support me either on Ko-fi on Patreon. So yeah, that's the overview of the tileset tool. Hope you can use it to make your own projects a little bit easier to work with. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.